So anyway, yeah, that's the idea. We're not our physical body, we're not our mental body, but we're actually spiritual in essence, a tiny spiritual spark. It gives life to the matter that surrounds us. So that's our true identity, spirit, soul. And what did we talk about next? The position that we have as a spirit soul. What is our position? And it's a subordinate position. Subordinate to who or what? Well, basically subordinate to everything. We think we're on top of the world, but really the world is on
to the reality, reality show. What do they say?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're not in control of anything. I mean, look at the world today and how everybody's saying, oh, it's out of control. Yeah, well, why don't you control it? Here you are, on planet Earth, you got, 7-something billion people? And if you're all controllers, why can't you control this story? But it's not possible because really we're not in control. Material nature's in control. The demigods are in the control of us, and our position as earthlings, so to speak. And, above all of the other controllers, there's the Supreme Lord, which controls all the other controllers. So, here we are way down here in this very low position being controlled. That's reality, So that's our position.
Because that position becomes one, that like nature of us being controlled becomes wonderful news when we learn our function and we know our function. Because it's just like when all the parts of the body fit together, like when all the parts they're doing their purpose, they're filling their role in the body, then the whole unit works together, everything is coordinated, and all the units are happy and satisfied and in harmony because it's all matching. So that's just some idea that I had.
Yeah,
exactly.
Working together. Yeah, that's really how it's supposed to be. If we want real peace and harmony and smooth running machine, whether you see the machine as being the physical body, physical and mental body, physical, mental, and spiritual person, or the whole creation, or life in general. However you look at it, when it's in harmony and running smoothly, it's a good thing.
Right.
It's a very good thing.
So
what is our function, I remember when I was first starting this yoga journey, spiritual journey, really trying to go beyond what I'd already knew, which wasn't basically anything, but I had a little understanding of a few spiritual ideas, and I wanted to know more. So I learned along the way through personal experience and accepting authoritative knowledge, etc., that I'm not the body. I knew that. I understood that. I knew who I wasn't. See, I know I'm not the body. So that was the first step. Okay, I know who I'm not. But I didn't know who I was. I know I'm not the body, but okay, so who am I? Really? And this wasn't just overnight. This took place over some period of time, And so anyway, gradually I learned, okay, I'm not the body. Okay, I already know, I know that. But now who am I? And then I learned, like we just discussed, I'm spirit soul, But I still didn't know what to do. And I still didn't know how this related to the whole picture. Okay, here I'm a little spiritual entity just floating around in life, but how does it all connect and where does it fit in? Like, one piece of the puzzle as you just referred to, and we often refer to, and then, gradually, when, I learned a little more and I met my spiritual master, and it's like, how when people make a video, sometimes they're going along and it's at normal speed, and then they want to fast forward to get through a part real quick. And you know what I mean? People just start running and jumping, and then it's done. What might have taken 20 minutes is done in 30 seconds, And so it was like when I met, my spiritual master, Siddhasarupananda Paramahamsa, it was like all that was just fast forward. And the puzzle was, wow, there's the puzzle.
And then you zoom out and you go in slow motion. You see the whole picture and the landscape and just like
yeah. I just thought of that, but that's kind of how it was, It really happened quickly because, it just put all together by the master.
Wow.
And that was very, very wonderful, really. So, yeah, we're gonna discuss function today, because if you don't know what to do with all the information, okay, I'm spirit soul and I'm control.
Exactly.
Then you're still in
exactly. Which we're always active. That's part of what we said in the first talks. Like, we have to be active. We have to do something. So we can't just. It's kind of like just being in oblivion and just exist. We have to do something. So what do we do then with our mind, with our thoughts, with our time, with our intelligence, with whatever? Yeah.
What do we do? And without knowledge, what you do is probably not going to be the best thing to do. It's just like, and the Vedas, they often categorizes people into two different sections. Those who are ignorant, that means they just don't have this knowledge of what to do, of who I am, all this advanced understanding of life. That's the category that, unfortunately, we find is predominant. And then the other category is, the wise, those who have the knowledge. And they know what to do, not because they figured it out somewhere. They learned it from the teacher. They learned it from the Supreme Lord, the scriptures, the spiritual teacher, etc., And if they were sincere enough, they didn't just grab it as book knowledge, but it was all confirmed within their heart by the Lord in the heart that this is true, And now you're in a very, very solid position. Some people might ask us, well, how do you know this is true? In other words, they want some material explanation, some proof, but inside, you have that conviction, and that is something you can't explain to somebody, or you can't, just, okay, here, look at this.
That's true.
It's a personal experience of knowing, and that's a wonderful thing too. So anyway, I know we've only got
talk around it and
have a hard time staying with.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
That period of time.
but I guess
we're always struggling against the clock.
Should we start with Bob Dylan or?
Well, we can, or we can, why not? We can do it like that. So Bob Dylan, some of you in young bodies might not even know who that is. But Bob Dylan was a very popular singer-songwriter in the late 60s and early 70s, back in the time when the movement was moving into another area of consciousness. In other words, that was really the movement, totally misdirected in many cases. But in other words, there was some, kind of search or exploration for a higher level of understanding of life. Really, that's what it was. So anyway, Bob Dylan was very vocal in this time period. And another point that you may not know is he spent some time with Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. And so that was the time period of the Beatles And they had a lot of contact and association with Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. And Bob Dylan was all those guys at that time were kind of like just friends. They all knew each other. So Bob Dylan was in there, and so was Eric Clapton.
And Bhaktivedanta Swami was the one who took this Vedic wisdom, you could say, from India, where it had been kind of passed down to the West, and I guess summarized.
Yes. He brought this whole absolute knowledge of Vedic truth to the Western world, And so, he is my initiating spiritual master. And it's very wonderful. The influence he had on, so many people, including Bob
That's
Dylan.
The point.
This
yeah.
is my point. So you'll hear some of it. And it's quite long. I don't know if we'll read all of it, but there's verses and then there's a chorus that repeats and repeats. But let's begin. And it was a very nice tune, too, but, we're not going to sing it. Just read it. You may be an ambassador to England or France. You may like to gamble. You might like to dance. You might be the heavyweight champion of the world. You might be a socialite with a long string of pearls. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it might be the devil or it might be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. You might be a rock and roll addict prancing on the stage. You might have drugs at your command, women in a cage. You may be a businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor. They may call you chief. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you are. You're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. You may be a state trooper. You might be a young Turk. You may be the head of some big TV network. You may be rich or poor. You may be blind or lame. You may be living in another country under another name. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you are. You're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. You may be a construction worker working on a home. You may be living in a mansion or you might live in a dome. You may own guns or you might even own tanks. You may be somebody's landlord. You might even own banks. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it might be the devil or it might be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. And on it goes. Quite a lot of, You may call me Terry, you may call me Timmy, you may call me Bobby, you may call me Zimmy. You may call me RJ, you may call me Ray. You may call me anything, but no matter what you say, still you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. I mean, which means, from the words, and I didn't read, but half of it, that no matter where you are and what position of life, you're going to have to serve somebody.
Yeah.
Unavoidably so. Now we're going to read why that is. Why is that so much true? Because, as we're going to read right now from Bhagavad Gita, this is the introduction to Bhagavad Gita by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I'm going to start a little above where you did, Reuben. Therefore, Sanatan Dharma, Sanatan means eternal. And Dharma means occupational duty. Therefore, Sanatan Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the living entities in relationship with the eternal Supreme Lord. Sanatan Dharma refers, as stated previously, to the eternal occupation of the living entity. Ramanujacharya has explained the word Sanatan as, quote, that which has neither beginning nor end, unquote. So when we speak of Sanatan Dharma, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sri Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. And it goes on. There's so much, here. But the idea is, as a spirit soul, we have an eternal spiritual function. That's innate. That is constitutionally a part of ourself that we will never get rid of because it's
what we're meant to
part
do.
of our essence. Yeah, and so like Bhaktivedanta describes it here, the English word religion is a little different from the Sanatana Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of truth. Excuse me, I'm wrong. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process, and he may change this faith and adopt another. But Sanatana Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be taken from water, nor can heat be taken from fire. Similarly, the eternal function of the eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatana Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatana Dharma, therefore, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sri Ramanujacharya, and he was a great spiritual master, in our disciplic line of masters. So it must be taken for granted on the authority of Sri Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian, for it cannot be limited to any boundaries. Yet those belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatana Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply into the matter and consider it in the light of modern science, it is possible for us to see that Sanatana Dharma is the business of all the people of the world, nay, of all the living entities of the universe.
Wow.
And so when Bob Dylan, who obviously got this message of truth from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, he made it so clear in everyday language that everybody's going to serve somebody because that's your Sanatana Dharma.
And just making that clear, I guess that the idea is like even you might serve your boss, but if you climb the ladder and being the boss, you serve the stockholders, or if you're a politician, you have to serve the inhabitants of your country. You have to please somebody. You have to serve somebody. You cannot avoid that. Yeah. It's like
right. The husband serves the wife serves the husband, the parents serve the kids. The shopkeeper serves the customers, and everybody serving. I mean, look at people who have dogs or cats or whatever. They're serving the dog. Everybody says, oh, the dog is the man's best friend. He serves the master. But, I give this example sometimes. Every morning I get up very early, and go out and walk and do my japa meditation, which is chanting mantras on beads. And so I'll be out. I remember one morning I was in Khabarovsk in Far East Russia, and it was early morning and it was cold and it was snowing and it was blowing, and I'm out and just, it's just nobody out there. And then I come across this man and he's out there walking his dog, And why is he out there walking his dog? To get exercise? No, because he's serving his dog. And you might ask this same owner of the dog, before that, nice dog. Yes, I'm his master, and I have taught him many tricks. And he tells the dog, roll over, and the dog rolls over. Shake hands, the dog shakes hand. Bark, oh, Sit, and the dog sits down. See, I'm the master of my dog. And then I see him the next morning out there, in freezing cold, serving his dog. That's reality. Everybody serves somebody. You cannot not serve somebody, because it's our eternal natural position. So Sanatana Dharma is actually when, as Bhaktivedanta stated already when I read it, the eternal occupational duty between the individual spirit souls in his service to the Supreme Soul. That's when that service propensity, that serving attitude reaches its perfection. So all the service that we render to other living entities here on earth or in the universe, wherever we are, is not our eternal constitutional position of service. Our eternal position of service is to serve the Supreme Lord. And in love, because that's where service really takes on, some higher taste, some real, feeling of satisfaction, If you're serving somebody because you have to, then that's servitude. That's not loving service. And you hate it. You're out there grumbling. But I didn't hear this guy grumbling. If he was so upset about having to get up early and go out in the cold to serve his dog, he'd get rid of the dog. You just get rid of this guy. You don't need this dog. But he's attached to this dog. He has some relationship, some feeling, of devotion. And he's caring for the dog. So you take that to the highest level of perfection, and that's when you experience service to the Lord in love and devotion, and there is when the heart is surcharged with spiritual love. And that's when life becomes unbelievably wonderful.
Because all these loving relationships that we have in the service we render, like you said, it's too... it's temporary. What you said, you spoke about the dog and the form of the dog, and the person is not their body, So the person is but that's so it's all. I guess My point was just that's all temporary. But we need, just like in love, we have an unlimited need for love. So we need an unlimited way to serve in love for us to be satisfied. Just like our hearts are never. Like there's never, we have an unlimited need for sharing love, for unlimited need for happiness, and it can only be found in an unlimited source, is the idea, I guess.
Yeah, that's the idea, and it just becomes very specific, who that personality is. That's why the Vedas are so wonderful, because, we can beat around the bush and say things, and kind of skirt around the reality, but the Vedas bring it right home, You will never find that ultimate satisfaction and happiness and pleasure and joy of serving until that is directed toward the Supreme Person, because that's the eternal constitutional position of the living entity, And so we try to find that ultimate satisfaction by serving everybody else, but
Supreme Lord.
We'll serve the dog and the cat and the husband and the wife and the kids and the country and underprivileged people and on and on and on. We'll do that, but we're so reluctant to just come to where we should be, and that's okay. Direct that service to the Lord. And then if you're serving husband and wife and children and dogs, and it's all in connection with your relationship of love with the Supreme Lord, expanded to the love for His children.
Which is just like there's this comparison. If we're like leaves on a tree, and we're all connected to the tree, and we're all connected, So we cannot, and it won't satisfy the leaf to try to, take what little drop that we have as leaves on the tree to try to give the drop to another leaf, but we have to water and focus on the tree itself, the trunk, the root of the tree, and that's the cause of all causes. That's supreme being that you're referring to. So if we cultivate that relationship, if we, then we're able to actually love and serve and care for others.
Yeah, that example is so commonly used in our teachings. Water the root of the tree and all the leaves and branches will be, nourished. Mm-hmm. But we're so reluctant to do that, because it comes back now, you guys are off on some religion thing. But it was just explained by Bhaktivedanta Swami that this is beyond religion. This has nothing to do with religion as we know religion. What does he say here? Anyway, some sectarian religious people will say, well, this is another religion. This is just another religion, But it's not a religion as you know religion. Religion, in Sanskrit is dharma. That's what, the word dharma means, religion. But it's not sectarian faith and belief systems. It's not Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Judaism, and so on. It means, dharma means occupational duty. What is the occupational duty of the soul? This is what religion means, There's another explanation given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, another one of our great spiritual masters in our lineage. And he said, you can define religion as the real nature of something. That's what religion is, the original nature of something. So the original nature of the soul is loving service to the Supreme Soul. So that has nothing to do with sectarian faiths. They're temporary. You can change your faith, in a moment. Oh, I used to be a Christian, now I'm a Buddhist. Oh, I used to be a Hindu, but now I'm a Christian. See? Or let's say you're born, we've talked about this before, I think I remember this example, on this program, but let's just say you're born in Poland. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm a Catholic. Why? Because, in Poland, we're Catholics, And then your next life, you're born in Uzbekistan, Now you're a Muslim, Why are you a Muslim? Oh, all Uzbeks are Muslims, I've actually asked people that in Uzbekistan. Yeah, so you're Muslim? Of course. We're all Muslims. Yeah. But wait a minute. Last lifetime, you told me you were a Catholic. Now you're telling me you're a Muslim. And next time you're born in Israel, now I'm a Jew. I follow Judaism. See, all these things are temporary, whereas Sanatana Dharma is eternal, Whether you call yourself one thing or another thing, beyond all of that, you are eternal spirit soul, and your occupational duty is to serve the Supreme Soul. And that's the level we need to come to and operate on.
But moving toward that, I guess it's a step in the right direction to understand that at least my life I'm developing the desire to serve and help some higher cause or some welfare organizations or like I'm at least learning to see and appreciating that I'm not the center of the universe. Like, is that these things?
Yes, it is. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, right here, I got the book right on the table. In chapter 12, the Supreme Lord explains, the best is to, just always be in the consciousness of loving and serving the Lord. But if you can't do that, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga, develop a desire to know and to serve. If you can't do that, then help those who are trying to propagate this eternal truth. If you can't do that, then do welfare work, charity work, help other people. This is all on the list, you see, because, you can do this, okay, can't do this, okay, can do, okay. Can you, just get outside of the little I, me, mine world that you're stuck in and help somebody? Do something outside yourself. Oh, yeah, And what is that saying that we often hear? It's better to give than to receive. So people that actually are actively serving some higher purpose, some higher cause, they feel better about themselves. They feel better in life. They're always going around and trying to help somebody.
Yeah.
They're charitably disposed, and they feel better. They're not so stuck in their little problems. Oh, but I got my... they don't really focus so much on themselves because they've got another focus.
And
how can I help you?
And someone would say, there's always this, when we speak about this, there's always this comment perhaps that, you might lose yourself then because you're only concerned with serving others. But how about you? How about yourself?
You are serving yourself. That is the idea. I mean, what is all this self-centered, look at yourself, don't lose yourself, focus on yourself, love yourself? What is all that about? Trying to be happy, trying to feel better. I feel good about myself. But if you want to really feel good about yourself, then start operating in the capacity that your real self is, and that's service.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is your real self. And then you really start feeling good about yourself. I feel good today. Why? Because I help this person in need, or I gave some money that I had. It was a little bit of a sacrifice, but I gave it anyway, to this charity or to this disaster, thing that happened or what. And how do you feel about that? I feel really good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really good. And that's serving yourself, is it not?
That's true. That's true. I didn't...
Isn't that the whole point? Whereas just sitting in your little, mine glass house castle, and just, taking selfies and, trying to be happy, that's a dead-end street that leads to depression and emptiness and loneliness and the opposite of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, because you're serving the illusion that you're, or whatever you're serving, your body, you're serving your senses, which we already explained. That's not you. That's not the self. that's not serving the self.
Yeah. And you're operating outside of who you really are.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you don't operate in the capacity of who you really are, then you're never going to get a good result.
Exactly.
If you're an eternal servant, regardless, like Bob Dylan said in his song, Bhaktivedanta saying, Ramanujacharya saying, and there's another quote right here from, Lord Chaitanya. When Sanatana Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami was a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was the latest incarnation of the Lord who appeared on the planet. So when Sanatana Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the swarup of every living being, that means the eternal form of the living being, the Lord replied that the swarup, or constitutional position of the living being, is the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the constitutional position of the living being. So, again, that's why everybody winds up serving somebody. Because that's you're not going to get away with not serving somebody. We all want to be masters, but the masters serve somebody. And those who don't, they just consciously refuse to serve somebody are the most miserable. You know? What makes the mother the most happy? Serving the kids.
Yeah.
And when the kids grow up and leave home, what happens? The mother's so, sad. She feels like I got no purpose now. I got nobody to serve.
Yeah.
Well, wait, there's your husband. You know what I mean?
No,
and when you come home to visit, they're so happy. Oh, now I got somebody, I can serve you. I can wash your clothes. I can cook your favorite food. I can do all the things. I can buy you some new T-shirts.
Yeah. I know something about that. Sounds familiar.
Oh, I know you like Icebreaker. I'll buy you, some new Icebreaker T-shirts.
Yep. And another point is that if I am trying to be independent of her or just living a lifestyle where I don't feel that I need that, like, this is just for comparison, one of my brothers, he's living a lifestyle where he already has a lot of money. He already has the things that he needs, like she can't buy anything for him. There's nothing in a way, I see that she appreciates so much being able to give to me because I really appreciate it. I really need it. While my brother is like, she perhaps the relationship doesn't become as close. You know what I mean? Because she's not able to render service as she wants. Because
it's not as warm.
Exactly.
That feeling of pleasure, warm pleasure of serving.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is absent, and what a great loss.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the world has become so self-centered that our natural service attitude is being squelched.
Exactly.
And frowned upon. If a wife serves the husband now, as intended by this divine arrangement, that's how it's supposed to be. She's actually looked at as backward,
And
what? You don't go out and have this big profession and, have no time for your family?
And serve an unknown man, which is your boss, that doesn't care about you, that doesn't know you, instead of serving your husband that does care about you and does know you.
And it's even gone worse that they don't have time to serve the children.
Yeah.
They turn their service to their child over to some daycare.
Exactly.
Okay, you guys take care of my child. I don't have time. And when they pick their child up from daycare and go home after a long day working, wherever it was, the office, the store, whatever, they're so tired, and so pushed for time that it's just like a burden. The whole thing of service, which should be joyful, is a burden.
Yeah.
And so that's really a big destructive force in modern life.
Yeah. Sweet.
And the result is not good. It is definitely not good. Physically, psychologically. I mean, if you analyze why there's so many psychological problems, it's because nobody's acting in their real position,
right?
Of who they are, And so it's just manifesting in all these psychological issues. We talk about that a lot, and it's not a mystery what's happening here, But it's a mystery to a lot of people. Oh, but I can't give up, my, position, whatever it is, in my material created life. I have to do that,
There's a comparison that I just thought, maybe we have to end soon, but there was something about time flies. Been here before, but it's it's like, so we're here, we're on this planet, we've been given this amazing human form of life. We have time, we have all these capabilities. It's just like we're on the street and we find a wallet, and so you have different options when you find that wallet. You can just like walk past it and you don't want to deal with it, you don't want to like get involved in that thing. You can open it up and find the money and try to distribute the money to the poor, and and try to do your best in that way. Or you can try to find the actual owner of the wallet, who and then you return the money to the owner of the wallet, which is and that is kind of similar to serving the supreme person, to find the owner of all these things and serve in that way, and then automatically will be distributed to everyone else.
Yeah. Right. So it's a new year, 2022. We got a chance to, make some decisions what we're going to do with it.
Exactly.
The more knowledge we have, then the more we're going to know what we should do with it, whether we'll do it or not. We at least know what we should do.
Yeah.
And that's important. I know I should, but I just can't. But at least you know what you should do. And maybe along the way, you decide, I'm going to do what I should do. So, knowledge there's no substitute for knowledge. There is no substitute for knowledge. And in the Vedic terminology, knowledge is known as vidya. That's knowledge. And Raja Vidya. Raja means the king of knowledge. So all this information is Raja Vidya, the king of knowledge. So we just touched on a little piece of Raja Vidya today. I'm the eternal servant, you see. And I'm going to serve regardless. So if you want to bring that to perfection, then serve. Water the root, as you said.
Exactly.
Water the root. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Ruben, let's end with a little.
Yeah.
And the mantra is the same.
Goranga, Haribo.
That's it. We have some regular listeners. I and you both get some, messages from different people that they watch on a regular basis. So that's wonderful. And so you should be really familiar with this chant. Haribo, Nita Haribo.
Gauranga 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 Haribo.
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo. Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo. Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo, Gauranga, Gauranga Haribo. Haribo, Gauranga, Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo,
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo, Gauranga, Gauranga Haribo. Haribo, Gauranga, Gauranga
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
Haribo.
Haribo. Gauranga. Gauranga Haribo.
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 Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo.
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 Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo.
Gauranga Haribo. Hari Hari
Haribo.
Haribo.
That's the Chintamani singers in the background.
And my fire has finally gone out, but
Yes, it
there's
is.
still
1 hour later. Not those 18-hour stoves.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we thank everybody that may have joined us today or will join us in the future.
Yeah. Hope it made sense to everyone, and that if there's something that you didn't understand or didn't make sense to you, then feel free to write us or comment or make sure that you get your answers. So
Yeah. Come back next week and listen more.
that's also a good. That's a good, and meditate, which is essential.
So all these things put the puzzle together puzzle of life together.
Mm.
And when you put it all together, it's a beautiful picture. Yeah. Okay, so Ruben, we'll see you next time.
Yes, we will. Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Travel safe.
be back home probably in front of the home fireplace again.
Yeah, the home match.
Yeah, home match.
Book of matches. Okay, everybody. Namaste. Haribo.
Thank you, Balakhilya.
Oh, and one more thank you to Slava, his technical expertise.
And Marchand for borrowing his house, for lending his house to our.
A lot of people to thank in
Yes.
all these little endeavors that we do.
That's true.
Okay. Namaste. Haribo.
Namaste.